The next general hazard topic we'd like to discuss is entanglement. Entanglement is being caught in any device that will not release easily. The speed with which many types of farm machinery operate make them capable of wrapping, shearing, crushing, cutting, pinching, or pulling in faster than any human can react. Here are some suggestions to reduce the risk of entanglement. Footwear should be fully laced. Wear footwear with non-slip soles. Loose clothing should be tucked in. Wear gloves that fit hands snugly. Long hair should be tied up or tucked under headgear. Remove any strings or laces from clothing. Before attempting to unplug, clean out, adjust, repair, or lubricate any piece of equipment, turn off the source of power and physically block any part that could suddenly move. We are all bound by physical laws. Here's one you should be aware of when thinking about entanglement hazards. Inertia, freewheeling parts. A freewheeling part is one that continues to move after it has been shut off. The heavier the part and the faster it moves, the longer it will continue to move after it is shut off. Moving parts make noise, so to avoid freewheeling hazards, learn to listen to your machine. Know what part makes what sound. Learn to be patient and watch. Flywheels, pulleys, PTO shafts, and ends of shafts will show movement in internal parts or still freewheeling. Remember, fatigue causes mistakes. Take a break when needed. Be aware of your surroundings. When working with machinery, think before you act. Here are a few specific types of farm equipment that pose entanglement risks. Augers. A rotating screw, flighting, carries feed, grain, or other material up the auger tube. This movement creates an entanglement hazard if hands, feet, clothing, or hair gets caught between the screw and the tube. Manufacturers produce augers with protective shields and grates which have openings only wide enough for the material being moved, not wide enough for hands or feet. Never operate an auger if these safety features have been removed. Never start an auger engine by pulling on the drive belt. Your hand can easily get caught and pulled into the drive pulley. Bin sweep augers. As a bin sweep auger rotates horizontally, sweeping the bottom of a grain bin, opportunity for contact with the rotating screw is significant. It is important that safety signs be posted warning anyone working near a bin that a bin is equipped with a bin auger. No one should enter a bin while a bin auger is in operation, as the flighting moves quite quickly. Disconnect and lock out power before entering the bin or servicing the auger. Baler. Learn the proper techniques to create a good bale. You'll then be less exposed to entanglement risks when trying to adjust or unplug the machine. Never attempt to feed material into a baler by hand, as there could be a significant risk of entanglement in the pickup or crushing in the chamber. Let the baler pickup gather loose material or broken bales. If you need to clear plugged material from the pickup, shut down the PTO power to the baler and wait until the flywheel has completely stopped turning before approaching the machine. The PTO shaft, which transfers power from the tractor to the baler, is another area of possible entanglement. Never step across a PTO shaft, as they operate at over 500 revolutions per minute and can strip off your clothes or worse in less than a second.
I was leaning on the auger, tired, watching the grain pour out of the truck into the auger, and I got just a little bit too close to the drive shaft, coming down the auger tube to the 90-degree gearbox that went to the tractor. And I didn't have the right kind of pin in there. I didn't put a pin that was a little too long, and it grabbed me right by the chest of my coveralls. And I was fortunate enough to get my arms on the auger while it proceeded to rip off all of my clothes, and they were whirling around the auger going whump, whump, whump every revolution. I had one pant leg left, and that was, I should have been strangled or had my neck broke, but because I got my arms up and the coverall started to tear, clothes started to tear, it ripped them off while I was able to hold myself away. So I look back on that, and I think of I had coveralls and I had a shirt and pants and a belt. I think of it should have drew me in and strangled me or broke my neck or back before it started to rip. But it started to rip, and I was able to hold myself away. And would have been a bad situation. I was all alone at 10 o'clock at night, 2 miles from the home place, standing out by some granaries. It could have been terrible.
Combine. It's important to follow maintenance and lubrication schedules when working with combines because poorly maintained machines are more likely to have problems bringing the operator into contact with hazardous areas during adjustment or repair. Every combine uses a large number of belts and chains to transfer power from the engine to the transmission and threshing mechanisms. Each and every moving part of the combine, cutter, auger, conveyor, impeller, drive belt and roller chains, etc., can be entanglement hazards. Drive shields must be left in place and replaced after completing maintenance or repairs. In difficult harvest conditions, for example, tough straw, heavy weeds or uneven crop in the feed area of the combine, knives, pickup, table auger, and or feeder chain can easily become blocked. It is then necessary for the operator to pull out plugged material by hand. Make sure that both the header and threshing drives are fully disengaged before entering the table area. Secure blocking of header or reel before climbing underneath is also very important. Feed mixer. When operating a portable grinder mixer mill, safety hazards include crushing by the hammer mill section, cuts by the mixing auger, or entanglement in the slinger or PTO drive. Always make sure the PTO shaft has all guards and shields installed and stay well away from the shaft when mill is operating. Avoid overloading the grinder, which can result in plugging that has to be cleared by the operator. Anytime a machine must be unplugged by hand, the operator is at risk. Forage harvester. It is important to follow maintenance and lubrication schedules when working with equipment because poorly maintained machines are more likely to have problems, bringing the operator into contact with hazardous areas during adjustment or repair. Before opening any guards or shields, allow the cutting mechanism and drives to come to a complete stop. Be aware of your surroundings. When working with machinery, think before you act. Manure spreader. Key hazard areas include PTO side shafts and the side shaft that transmits power to the beaters. Keep these side shafts shielded at all times and make sure they are replaced after repairs or maintenance. Always shut off power to the spreader and make sure beater has completely stopped before entering the spreader box. Mowers. Any machine with rapidly rotating or reciprocating parts can be hazardous in a number of ways. Hazards include entanglement in the PTO, reel, or conditioning mechanism, lacerations from the cutter bar or blades, and debris being ejected or thrown at high speed. Oil and gas facilities. The moving parts of any oil or gas facility can be entanglement hazards. Playing on or attempting to ride on pump jacks is extremely dangerous. Even if they're shut off and not working, they can be started or stopped instantly with no warning by remote control. So stay away. Working in the farm shop can expose you to a number of entanglement hazards too. Shop tools used improperly or carelessly can be entanglement hazards. Loose clothing, hair, gloves, and laces can easily be caught. Any two moving parts, power transmissions, belt drives, chain drives, gear drives, feed rollers, etc., can cause a pinch point. Any exposed component that rotates is a wrap point. Smooth splined, square, and hexagonal shafts are all examples. In normal operation, most pinch and wrap points are protected by manufacturer's shields. But during repairs in the shop, when the shields may be removed, extra care must be taken to avoid entanglement in exposed moving parts. Extra care must also be taken to ensure long hair is pulled back and tied. Clothing must be snug-fitting and not frayed or torn. Drawstrings must be removed from clothing, and all boot laces must be tied securely. The speed with which many types of farm machinery operate make them capable of wrapping, shearing, crushing, cutting, pinching, or pulling in faster than any human can react. Information and experience are both needed and necessary in planning and preparing to prevent entanglement incidents on the farm.